Hey, welcome back. Welcome to this Woman Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you from our downtown outpost. Yes, we've made it to Broadway and we're still here. We're in the Question Tequila Studios as we are every single day, Monday to Friday, noon to 2 Eastern, live, and bringing you the best of what's happening in news, markets, and politics. Right down the street at the New York Stock Exchange, the Dow is up just marginally, middling around even for the day. Still above 27,000, which is good news. And Bitcoin is at 9,300. You're in good shape there, but we got some breaking news that Frankie wants to bring to you.
Well, there are a number of breaking news stories we're watching throughout the day, including Donald Trump Jr. naming the whistleblower in this Ukraine situation. And we'll see if John wants to repeat the name of that whistleblower.
Sure do.
But the breaking news within the last couple of minutes is a federal judge, not exactly a surprise, but a federal judge has struck down a new Trump administration rule that allowed healthcare clinicians to refuse to provide abortions for moral or religious reasons.
Yeesh.
So your local healthcare provider will still have to provide an abortion even if it goes against their religious or moral beliefs. Certainly no issue divides left and right, red and blue more than the issue of abortion, but there are a number of issues that drive people crazy. Whole country seems like it's split. A woman who may have the answer to how to bring the country back together, or at least some of your personal relationships, is Jamie Hantman. She is the author of the book, Heels in the Arena. Jamie, thanks so much for coming on TV with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is going to be your most fun stop on the book tour.
That's awesome.
And just so you know, Frank didn't give the subtitle, Living Purple in a Red and Blue Town. Our audience are the purple people. Not
Right.
these crazy nut jobs that are all red and all blue.
We want them listening. We want them watching.
Oh, haters gonna
everything.
hate, baby. That's for sure. But no, most people, I find, are not like 100% anything. There's
Right.
like little shades of red and blue, which make kind of purple. But the whole purple palette, to me, is what most Americans are.
Right.
You talk about living purple in a red and blue town. You're in Washington. You're in the White House in D.C. You're in a bipartisan marriage. Do we need to motivate the purple people to stand up?
I think we need to motivate them to be a little more vocal,
Yeah.
because the people who, as you said, are on the extremes of the right and left, love to be verbal about their opinions, and especially in places like Twitter. And I think the vast majority of Americans want to go about their lives. They don't want to have to worry about DC all the time. So that's part of the reason I wrote the book, is to encourage people to, speak up, and also to be more civil when we have disagreements.
Tell our audience a little bit about your background, because you've basically done the whole gamut in Washington. What were you doing that brought you to writing Heels in the Arena?
So I came to DC as an intern, sort of that classic story, and stayed for law school. I worked for Senator Connie Mack, a Republican of Florida, and then went downtown and was one of those lobbyists on K Street that people love to tease for very good reasons. And then I went into the George W. Bush administration after 9/11. I felt a call to serve at that point. So first I went to the Justice Department, and then I made my way over to the White House.
Wow.
So you're actually, as John alluded to, you're in a bipartisan marriage. Your husband's a Democrat, you're a Republican. Any advice for folks at home on being in a bipartisan relationship or a bipartisan marriage?
Well, it's really important to have other things to focus on. I mean, most people who live their lives, it's not just about politics, and so I think that having other things in common. That was one of the nice things about being in a bipartisan relationship when I was working at DOJ and the White House, is that when I went home and saw my then boyfriend at the end of the day, it wasn't just about talking about work. We had to focus on other things, because otherwise we might get into some massive fights.
So, Jamie, how did we get here? We saw a few weeks ago what happened when Ellen DeGeneres said some nice things about George Bush, and she ignited a Twitter firestorm. How did we go to a place where civil discourse was encouraged and thought to be the norm, to now, if you're willing to talk to somebody on the other side, let alone be friends with somebody on the other side, you're considered a pariah amongst your own political tribe?
I think one of the downsides, actually, of sort of the information age is things like Twitter have made people sort of emboldened to be a little bit nasty because they're not sitting across from the person. And if you were sitting across from someone, you would say things and disagree in a more respectful way usually. If it's more anonymous and it's online, it's really easy to just sort of like say what's on your mind, even if it's not the kindest thing to say. When that happens over and over again, we just sort of get in a situation where culturally people are sort of living on edge with anger on both sides of the aisle, and it's sort of a death spiral.
So what's the solution? How do we fix this?
I think one of the important things, Arthur Brooks talks about not having contempt for people on the other side. We need to take away that sort of emotion of contempt. Realize that most people that you disagree with love their country like you do. They just have different opinions about how to solve our problems. So if we can start with that sort of attitude and really engage and listen to somebody's arguments, it'll help you improve your arguments for your policy positions, and I think it'll take the tone down. How do
we get through Thanksgiving is upon us, and how do we get through a Thanksgiving dinner with family members that don't agree with the? Can we just have conversation and not a fight?
That's the hope, and it does come up. Sometimes it's nice to maybe ask their opinion and then say, well, we're going to agree to disagree, but let's talk about the Giants.
Well, let's not talk about the Giants, because then I'll be throwing up my Thanksgiving dinner. But yeah, maybe come by my house. You got no time to talk because my mother keeps shoving more food down your throat. And
that's a good idea.
If somebody gets mad, you just pass them another manicotti or something like that, But thank you so much for coming down.
Good luck.
Go out and find Heels in the Arena. It's a great book. It talks. She's a real insider. We got her on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you coming down to Liquid Lunch. I appreciate you joining us every single day. And you got to stay right there, because when I say we're in the Question Tequila studios every day, the CEO of Question Tequila is here. Jason's right over there. And I heard he's got a big supply for us. Stay right there. We'll be back after this.